Okay, so next up, they did a stream today where they were showing off the Jtech Mastery preview. Let me get this window sized right, and we're just going to cut out the Twitch chat because nobody needs to see Twitch chat, right? Nobody ever needs to see the Twitch chat. And let's just stretch that right there. So let's just dive right into it. And as always, because I have the attention span of a fruit fly, we're going to watch this on a high speed. So if you're watching this on YouTube, buckle up, especially if you're watching me on ×2 speed, because this is going to be on like ×8 or something. Quick math. And with the power of watching this later, we're going to skip ahead.
Ring companion. We
All right, here we
have
go.
different needs, so you can customize your Jade Bot with a module. Let them speed up your skiff, energize your mount, recycle items, scavenge for you, and more. Equip it with a robust power core, and your bot can even enhance your vitality. Your Jade Bot will always be there to give you a boost, save you time, and pick you up when you're down. It's great company when you just want to take in the view.
It'll always be there for you,
Make a
except
little
when it's on
room in your
cooldown.
heart for Jade Bots. They'll be available to unlock and customize soon.
When she said customize soon, I wonder if she just meant the modules or if we can like put skins on them.
Hi Tyria, happy Friday and welcome to Guild Chat. I'm your host Ruby and I am so glad you're here with us today to talk about Jade Bots. Real quick, before we get into that, I just want to point to the adorable plush griffin that you saw during
Wait. Who sees it? Who sees it? What is that creature? I've heard tales, myth of legend, of these creatures, these mythical beasts. I don't know what these are.
Happy Friday and welcome to Guild Chat. I'm your host Ruby and I am so glad you're here with us today to talk about Jade Bots. Real quick, before we get into that, I just want to point to the adorable plush griffin that you saw during Countdown and the Siege Turtle pin just in time for Cantha. The new For Fans by Fans items are available.
I razzed her last time that I was like, come on, look at this. All right, I want to point something out to you guys. Hold on. Ruby's a wonderful, wonderful person, but I want to point something out to you guys. Look at this bar. Okay? Do you see this? The people watching this live have been waiting 15 minutes. And she immediately starts selling something. That's not how you market. That's not how you do it. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. Like, sweetie, I just, please. Anyway.
At Good Smile now, so you can get that little extra addition of real-life preparation for End of Dragons before we go live. All right, that said, we are going to talk about Jade Bots today. All of us here at ArenaNet have been so excited watching how much you all were interested in the Jade Bots and how cool you thought they were. I also have been watching all of your questions and keeping track of them. Hopefully today we're going to answer as many of those as we can because we're going to give you a step-by-step walkthrough of everything these little helpers can do, what you...
She did post on the forums recently that she was gathering up questions that people asked about Jade Bots from the forum, and she was going to try to use those. I assume that's what she means by gathering up questions.
Can use them for and how you get them. So with me today are our two dev guests to help me do that walkthrough. Let's start with Indigo. Hey, hi.
Hi, I'm Indigo. I was the narrative owner for the new Kinding map, and I also helped with a bunch of the systems-oriented things for End of Dragons, like the Elite specs.
She also does as much DPS as the rest of their team combined. Do not mess with Indigo, chat.
And most importantly, the Jade
Like,
babies
she doesn't even need me to have her back. She will one-shot you.
that we're going to talk about today, rather the Jade Bots more professionally.
Awesome. I'm so glad you're here. And Ben also, hi. Thanks for joining.
Everyone, I'm a design manager here at ArenaNet.
Is that Ben P? I've never seen him.
Awesome. I'm so glad you're here. And Ben also, hi. Thanks for joining.
This is the Ben that's in the Twitch chat all the time. This is the one that I was like, hey, Ben, are y'all still allowing new partners? I applied, I haven't heard anything. He's like, oh, why don't you try to apply again? And boom, I got in. He swears he didn't do anything, chat. I think he went down the hall and was like, hey, that Mucklet guy keeps annoying me. Please let him in.
Everyone, I'm a design manager here at ArenaNet. I was part of the team that worked on Jade Bots.
Cool. All right, thank you both for being here, and thanks to all of you for hanging out with us. Let's get started with what exactly Jade Bots are. Indigo, why don't you kick us off from the lore side of this?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of a high overview for our new viewers too. I'll not only go about bots, but Jade technology as a whole in Cantha. So where we're standing right now, where Ruby and I are in the game, are the first guarded of Enlightened Thought, which is one of the most uppermost layers of New Kaining City, which might sound a little ritzy, and it is. This is a trade show / tech demo for Jinlai Jade. This area is one of our Renown Hearts, which are activities that the player can do to learn different mechanics, and we'll chat about that a little bit more in a bit, but this one specifically focuses on Jade Bots. A quick high overview of Cantha and tech and Jade Bots before Ben dives in. As we've been teasing a pinch, and as some of you might have noticed during the new Kaining livestream last week, the Empire is filled to the brim with Jade technology. Jinlai Jade is a tech mogul of the world, and it's going to be introducing a lot of really cool new things to Tyria. All of this tech is powered by a resource called Dragon Jade, which is magically infused jade left over from an event called the Jade Winding Guild Wars Factions, which happened when Shiro Tagachi was killed, and he basically petrified everything in sight. Really tragic event. Definitely recommend reading up on it. We'll learn a little bit more of it in End Dragons, but
Someone in chat said, why all the he/him stuff? It's everywhere. So I'm definitely one of the people that's not bothered by this, but there are some people that are bothered by this. So for those people, like they put like, you know, they, them, he, him, she, her, you know, what, or whatever the pronouns are. They do that because some people greatly appreciate it, and honestly, it really doesn't hurt the rest of us. I mean, that's really the bottom line. It's a very easy thing. Some people appreciate it, and to other people, it doesn't really affect. So that's honestly how I look at it. So I just don't worry about it. We've got them set up on our Discord server too. If people want to use them, they can. If they don't, then they don't.
Dragon Jade powers just about everything you see in Cantha New Kaining. There are holo projectors telling you the news, zip lines, wink, 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 wink. We'll talk about those in a second. Giant whale holograms that Connor and I screamed about last week, and a bunch of other super necessary innovations that are meant to help kind of streamline the day-to-day in Cantha. But speaking about the day-to-day, Jade Bots, they're great, they're cute, they're my favorite thing in the world, they're just adorable. But most importantly, they do aid the day-to-day of the Canthans. Now, as posed in Kaining, Jade Tech can be extremely expensive, though getting your own bot is not. It's tied to story. We'll talk about that in a second. But for the
So someone said Indigo on ×2 is too fast. This is only 1.5. She has not yet unleashed her true power on my stream. This is just 1.5.
people of Cantha, it can be a pretty hard technology to attain, and it's often found in some of the richer districts as you travel up in New Kaining. You'll see them in Equivalde, you'll see a couple in Jade Sea and Xingje as well. But they're used for all sorts of things. They're namely used for public transportation. They're kind of a key to the zip lines and teleporters. They're used for security purposes too. Some of our super astute observers may have even noticed in the Kaining stream last week when we were in Kabul Ward, the Tengu district, the bird race in Cantha, that they were using Jade Bots to kind of help identify some Jade Brotherhood threats that were lingering in the area, and that's a part of Now in Heart. So there's a bunch of different uses, but I know players are really excited to learn about what all these things can do, so I'll pass it over to Ben, and we can just start digging into them a little bit.
Yeah, there's kind of three different big parts to the Jade Bots. There's the in-world interactions that people can do around Cantha, stuff like Jade batteries, turrets, and so forth. There's the skills you get and the abilities you get from the Mastery track, and then the big part for me is the actual equipment slots that Jade Bot adds, power cores and the 2 different module slots.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to jump into all of those. I want to touch on first how you get started. How do you unlock this thing in the first place? And Indigo, this is a story step, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you start on the End of Dragon's story, eventually you will get to a pretty early on story step where you will get your own bot. One of our characters is going to lend one to you, no spoilers, and you're going to get to keep it. I feel like being the commander should come with some perks. So you get your own Jade Bot, and it all just kind of unfolds from there. And there's some really fun, as we'll talk about today, there's some super fun story-specific interactions that you'll have with the Jade Bot, but they're super useful in so many different ways.
Okay. All right. So as we get ready to go through all of these details that Ben mentioned, Ben, where is this? Just to get that first question out of the way, where are Jade Bots? Where can you use your Jade Bots?
So most of the functions are all available in open worlds. Some of them are also functional in other areas, but it's on a kind of case-by-case basis. Some of the things obviously wouldn't work. We wouldn't want to work in PvP and worlds.
I was sitting here looking at his bar for anything I didn't recognize. The only thing I see is the button underneath the weapon swap, which I believe was where the fishing pole and the skiff goes. Everything else here, I think we already know what it is.
For example, and a few of the things we wouldn't really want to work in, like strikes, raids, and fractals either. But open worlds, pretty much everything's functional, and then everything else is case-by-case basis.
Okay, and we'll touch on some of those case-by-case things as we go. So let's start right over here with the first part, which is direct control. I'm going to come over to this Jade Bot terminal and let you all talk about what I'm doing here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Ben.
I was unhelpful there. I am sorry.
Yeah.
That is okay. We're all just super excited.
Yeah, so we have a few specific areas set up around the world for you to take direct control of your Jade Bot. Because this is kind of some new...
So they did already announce this in a previous blog post. You can do this and fly around. There are certain puzzle areas that only the Jade Bot can fit through. Additionally, you can just explore like this. You can also use it for screenshots. If you type an emote, your character will still do the emote even while you're in the Jade Bot. So like if I was recording a video, I could fly the bot down like my little cameraman, do whatever emote, and I could get it from angles that were previously unavailable to me because the Jade Bot is now an option.
Tech, and we were a little conservative with it. So there's a few story instances where you can take direct control, and then a few areas in the open world where you can take direct control. But then your Jade Bot can fly around and do a bunch of stuff like interact with these lanterns and stuff like that, or take cool screenshots.
Yeah, this is awesome for open world screenshots, just for getting like those beauty shots of the world. And I'm going to be a little bit careful not to go up too far. Ben, I will let you talk about this. It is a little bit limited. You can't completely traverse Cantha from a single terminal.
Yeah, we have a few boundaries in place to make sure you can't fly absolutely anywhere at this time.
There we go.
Just because there's just so many areas that you could probably get to that we don't want people to necessarily see. But it's a pretty, as you can see from this one, this area, the area is pretty large that you can fly around.
Yeah, and I did just.
So for any of you not in game design, you know, if there's a section of the game that is not meant for people to be able to reach, it looks like an unfinished mess because no one's ever supposed to go there. And so that's probably part of the reason that they made these things have these stamina bars, so that you know you can't just like fly off into the sunset and just like, oh, what happens if I go 30 miles into the ocean for half an hour and go get lunch and come back? What'll I find? Well, yeah, hopefully you hit a wall because you're not supposed to do that.
Light up this Jade Lantern. This is now, Indigo, you talked about this with me earlier. This is kind of a training area, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we set up this renown heart. It's actually one of my favorite renown hearts because you're not really fighting. Well, there is fighting in it, possibly. But most importantly, it really just kind of helps you get into the motions of picking up Jade batteries, using them to light the lanterns. There's some zip lines in the area. A lot of the NPCs give you some cute little info on the Jade bots. When I was writing this event, I kind of wrote them all like Apple Genius Bar workers, so they're all super enthusiastic and want to tell you about Jade bots all the time. They're salespeople. They're doing their job. But yeah, there's a bunch of different.
I designed them after Apple Genius Bar workers. Okay, so they've all got proprietary screwdrivers and they won't let us fix our own bots. Got it.
Activities unrelated to Jade bots. If you're not interested in that, there's also just kind of another Jade Tech homage. There's some training panels too where you can fight some of the Jade mechs, which by the way are some of the most terrifying things in this game. They're super cute, they're friendly, but when they want to fight you, it's scary when they come running at you. But most importantly, yeah, it's scary. I watched one like drop from the sky and land like a superhero and then came running at me the other day. And I was like, that's my screen.
By the way,
scary.
So the Jade Bot, if you guys remember let's see, hold on, we're at 24. Can I find where the trailer was? Too far. Hang on.
Ring companion.
Okay, the little rods on his head. So those little rods were just there while he was just floating around, and they kind of like trailed behind him like hair. But now those same rods are what is spinning around, like they've become helicopter blades. I like that. So it's like depending on what the bot's doing, those floating rods above its head change what they're doing. It actually honestly reminded me, and someone's probably gonna give me grief because I watched this. I don't care. Steven Universe, one of the was it Peridot? She had like a robot hand, and there was like four or five floating fingers, and they looked like those rods. And sometimes they would turn into like helicopter blades or all kinds of different things. It looks the same thing as this. Is the same thing.
A superhero.
I think it's creative.
At me the other day and that's my screen. Oh, it's very scary. But yeah, this whole area it's just a gorgeous opulent garden that's just meant to really like encourage you to explore and get in your Jade Bot in the drone mode and look around. So lots of exciting stuff.
All right. So where are direct control terminals located? Where can players do this?
Yeah. So I'll pass it to Ben in a sec. There's actually Ben, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, there's a couple hearts like this one, and then there's a couple areas in the personal story that you can interact with, and then there's one that I don't really want to talk about too much because it's a little bit of a spoiler. I think people will be a little bit surprised about it. Yeah, pretty limited right now. We may add more later depending on how things go.
All right. And Indigo, you were going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say it's one of my favorite things about these locations, even though right now it's quite limited using these panels in the drone areas, in both this area in the garden and then one of the other open world occurrences of it. They're just a really great opportunity to get to.
Noxie said that Guild Wars typed in the chat that the bot has a first-person mode, but they didn't show it on stream. Oh, cool.
To look at the environment and take some really beautiful screenshots and test the boundaries of how far you can fly a Jade Bot.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. I'm like preparing for this next part. I'm getting up here as high as I can. Let's go through the mastery track and.
So there's a Jade battery right there. I don't think they've specifically gone out of their way to show us a Jade battery, but apparently that's what they look like.
Ben, will you walk us through these as
Oh, and there's one down here too.
I show them off?
Yeah, we get 5 masteries. The first one you get is the
Gliding booster, multi-charge, Jtech Waypoint, energy efficiency, and rescue protocol. Rescue protocol is probably the res.
Booster that everybody's kind of seen on a lot of the promotional material. At its basic level, it just gives a real quick boost, straight up like what you're about to do right now. Well, you actually have the enhanced.
Okay, so it's your heal button. Oh man, he doesn't have that option in the UI turned on to let us see the cooldown via a number
Version, but
I think
so
that's
by
really
default they don't go quite that high by default, but it's just a fun way to get a little extra distance out of your glide. And if you're really good with the timing, like I've kind of practiced a little bit of going on the mount, gliding, boosting up, and getting back on the mount to get that little extra altitude is kind of fun.
All right, you can super take advantage of that then.
Yeah, for sure.
Your Jade Bot can now give you an upward boost when you are gliding. You can now craft Tier 1 and Tier 2 power cores. From the articles we read from the gaming journalists that were allowed to play in the early version of End of Dragons, one of them wrote that it was going to be jewel crafting. Jewel crafting will make the power cores, so they will suddenly get a lot more work available to them once they've got these masteries, it looks like.
All right, let's look at this. So that's the first one you get, and then the next one.
Your Jade Bot can now carry up to 4 Jade energy charges at a time. You can now craft Tier 3 and Tier 4 power cores.
So multi-charge doesn't give you an actual skill. This allows you to carry more Jade energy charges, and kind of what those are is your Jade Bot can store energy for interacting with objects in the world, like the turrets and the Jtech teleporters and the boon consoles. A lot of the stuff actually requires energy, so your Jade
that looked cool.
Bot can and
all right, so watch the bot appears when he interacts with the battery.
The Jtech teleporters and the
it's like, look, it appears and like goes
boon consoles. A lot of the stuff actually requires energy, so
and then just
your
dips
Jade Bot
out.
can gather that and then transfer it into those other objects to power them up.
And I'm just picking up some charges there.
Does it show anywhere on her screen how much energy she's got?
All right.
So what this mastery does
go
is
ahead.
it gives you the ability to get an extra charge compared to what you start out with.
Yeah, I have 4 now, so
It's a buff icon. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's the far left buff icon.
charged him up all the way.
It looks like a car battery.
And let's go to Jtech.
All right, Jtech Waypoint. Your Jade Bot now has the ability to set up a personal waypoint for you. My understanding is this is going to work just like the Mistlock pass key, where you can port somewhere and then port back to where you were. So for anyone who doesn't have either Armistice Bastion or the Mistlock key, this can be very profitable. And the way that it can be is if you take any characters you're not currently using and you park them at like a Biora treasure chest or Sanctum of Nabka treasure chest or a Quartz node, and just each day log in, open treasure, log out. And then, that character's bag slowly fills with loot. And then like once a month, log into that character. You could use this waypoint system. You could use a Mistlock or Armistice Bastion key. You could use the PvP lobby, but there's more running involved, to unload everything into a bank or something and then port them back to the treasure spot. And then, they continue living their life there. So this might be possible for some people that don't have as much wealth as some of the rest of us to be able to do that same trick.
Waypoint.
Also, Tier 5 and Tier 6 power cores on this.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite ones, Jtech Waypoint. Basically, you can put a waypoint anywhere in the open world.
Someone said I think it resets when map change. Unfortunate if so, but I guess we'll find out.
So if you're like me and really bad at jump puzzles, this will be really handy for getting back. The one thing is there is a fairly lengthy cooldown, and you can only use it once. When you go back and use it, there's a little prompt that lets you know that you're about to consume the waypoint, and you won't be able to do another one for a little bit. Not super long, but you won't be able to use it to spawn rush boss encounters or things like that.
Over and over and over.
Yeah, because it behaves pretty much like any other waypoint where if you're downed and you use it, it'll bring you back. But we don't want people to be able to obviously do that over and over again on a boss encounter.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense.
I'm sure it's self-only, but I just envision someone in like a thief in Worldview World sneaking up next to an enemy squad and then summoning a Jade Waypoint and then like 50 people pouring through it. It'd be like worse than a Mesmer portal bomb.
Yeah, and like I said, only available in open world, no PvP world versus world story.
Oh, my dreams are ruined. One
Like
second later.
Break things pretty badly.
Actually, you know what? I do want to just back up because there is something that I am sure people have questions about. When we were talking about multi-charge and charging up your Jade Bot, you, and Ben, you can confirm this for me, you will always have a battery, a way to charge available in the map where it is needed, correct? You're not going to have to travel halfway across the world to get a new charge.
No, they shouldn't be too far. We made the charges pretty plentiful. The one thing is the Jade Bot charges won't stick with you on map movement. This is for a couple different reasons I won't go into here, but...
Ooh, Jade charges won't stick with you on map movement. Does that mean every time we go through a zone line boundary, it runs out of juice? Or does... I hope it... Oh, man. I hope it always stays at, like, I don't know, at least like half charge or something.
anywhere where you'll need one, you should be able to find one. Sometimes they're specifically limited. A lot of the story instances might specifically limit the number of charges in the map for puzzle reasons. But yeah, anywhere in the Canthan maps, you should be able to readily get charges.
All right, that works. Okay, sorry for interrupting, but I did want to cover that question because I want to make sure.
Well, that right there, if the default is 0 charges, then you wouldn't be able to use the Jtech Waypoint on maps that don't have batteries, which is non-Cantha maps. So, assuming the Jtech Waypoint requires one of the charges, I would assume it does.
We're telling all of you as much as we possibly can. So how about energy efficiency?
All right, your Jade Bot will now get 2 charges from a battery to a max of 4. Your Jade Bot can now gather charges from zip lines. You can now craft Tier 7 and Tier 8 power cores. Imagine like someone's riding a zip line, and then your bot takes the energy from the zip line, it just shuts off, person falls to their death.
See, let's look at that one.
So energy efficiency lets your Jade Bot get extra charges from batteries. Usually you just get one, but this lets you get another one. The other kind of cool thing it does is that on zip lines, your Jade Bot will actually gather energy charges from the zip line now. You can use zip lines without charges. It's not something that costs anything, but if you have that mastery, your Jade Bot will actually gather charges while you zip.
Nice. This seems like a good place to talk a little bit about transportation in Cantha since we're on these zip lines.
Heck yeah, so there are the zip lines and teleporters all throughout Cantha to kind of help better society navigate these sprawling landscapes, which is
Oh, that's big. She jumped off the zip line in the middle. That means if you need to get to a location that is between point A and point B, you could ride the zip line and just hop off in the middle of it. That's actually really, really good. Like, for example, in World of Warcraft, if you got on a flight path, you couldn't get off early. You went all the way. However, in EverQuest 2, if you got on a flight path, it would hurt. You could jump off the Griffin at any time. Like, if you're like, okay, there's a flight path from here to here, and I need to go here. You could just get on the Griffin and then just eject halfway, and then, just over something soft. That's actually really cool that they let you do that.
especially pertinent in New Kaineng, because the citizens, I'm sure that mount license for normal Canthan citizens are really expensive, so they need a way to be able to navigate all of these districts so much easier. But for the players specifically, it's a really fun way to kind of experience the verticality that's not related to a mount, and it just takes, like Ben has said with a lot of these things, you just pick up a charge, you can take it and zip. I think zip I used in a lot of the VO for the area in the garden actually too, to sell people for zip lines. I did. I think one of them is like, zip, you're at your next meeting, zip, you get noodles for lunch, and I had so much fun writing those.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so that's energy efficiency. And let's go to the last one where I've seen a whole lot of questions.
All right, Rescue Protocol. Your Jade Bot now assists you in rallying when you are downed. You can now craft Tier 9 and Tier 10 power cores. Doesn't say the cooldown yet.
Talk about Rescue Protocol and how that works.
Yeah, I saw a lot of comments about this one.
Yeah.
As an Ellie main, this is going to be probably one of my favorite ones.
Oh. Yeah, no talk of making you guys sturdier, but we made a bot that'll help revive you when you inevitably go down.
I'm in downstate, but as it's stated, Rescue Protocol just lets your Jade Bot pull you back up from the brink of death. It's on a fairly lengthy cooldown, so you can't spam it.
Wait.
So you can, as it's
hold on.
stated, Rescue Protocol just lets your Jade Bot pull you back up from the brink.
So it replaces the bandage button if it's available. And it doesn't have the cooldown on... You clever son of a gun. They didn't put the cooldown on the tooltip for this show. Okay, so it replaces the bandage button. You click it,
it's on a fairly lengthy
and
cooldown,
then
so
you can bandage after.
Alter that cooldown.
So for anyone who's not a ranger player, if a ranger uses lick wounds and their pet starts reviving them, and then the ranger also uses bandage, it's like you're getting revived by 2 people. You get up twice as fast. So you could do that same stunt with Jade Bots.
This skill is also not available in fractals and raids.
Does hitting 4 stop the bot? I doubt it because it flipped over to bandage. I would assume you could have the bot on you and be using bandage at the same time.
Strikes people.
But if you get hit... Okay, if it follows the same rules as lick wounds, if you get hit, your bandage would stop. But if the bot gets hit, it would still continue trying to use Rescue Protocol on you unless it gets stunned. If it's even a true unit... For example, if it doesn't have a health bar, maybe it can't even be interrupted. I don't know.
PvP world versus world. It is available anywhere, open world and story instances.
Yeah.
Dude, Rangers are going to be able to do a 3-man self-res.
But it just replaces that skill. And the thing about that is you don't have to use this. If this doesn't replace anything that already exists, this is an additional option that you have if you want to use that thing.
Yeah, it does go over your normal bandage skill, but it's just probably a way more effective bandage skill, and you don't have to use it. It doesn't work automatically.
Okay. All right.
I like how she says this does not replace anything that already exists. And then a second later, Ben P. Actually, it replaces your bandage skill. Like 1 second later.
If you two are ready, I want to move on to the part that I am super excited about, which is customization of your Jade bots. That's something that we talked about in the video, and that's something that I noticed a lot of you watching had called out, so I want to make sure that we give you all the details of what my inventory full of goodies is all about here. So I'm going to head over to
guessing those are
this
modules.
Jade Bot Workbench, and let's get started with our
All right. Jade Bot Core Tier 10. Exotic Core requires level 80, increases vitality by 235. Required to equip Jade Bot sensor arrays and service chips. That all lines up with what the PC Gamer journalist wrote about. I believe the sensor arrays and the service chips, one of them is kind of like a passive thing. Like the one that they had during the journalist bit was 10% faster endurance recharge on mounts. And then the that was the sensor array that they had. The service chip they didn't have unlocked during that broadcast that they did.
with our Jade Bot Power Core first, right, Ben?
Yeah, so you get 3 inventory slots. You get a power core slot, and then what we collectively call modules, the sensory arrays and service chips. The power core is what fictionally allows your bot to function. It needs a power core to do almost anything that you want it to.
Makes sense.
In addition to powering your modules and stuff like that, it also gives the user a vitality boost. You can see you have a tier 10, which is the max tier. It gives you a 235 points of vitality. We don't have any other stats that you can get right now. It is something that we're considering, but something we'll be taking a look at probably later. The next thing is... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think we're probably going to say the same thing, but let's find out.
No, I was going to...
Hey, what's up?
I caught Guzzlord on my 5th attempt.
Congratulations. We're currently watching a broadcast, though, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Who's that guy?
mention that if you don't want to use your Jade Bot for whatever reason, all you really need to do is unequip the power core. I'll be really sad about it, but you can turn off pretty much all Jade Bot functions by removing the power core.
Okay, yeah, that is true. If you do not love the cute little friend, but you want to fill out your mastery track because completionist exists, and I might be one of them, you just don't have to equip the power core. I do want to touch on you will get a power core, and that's part of the method I've been talking about in a second. This is a stat increase, so we didn't want to lock people out of that. So you need to be level 80. You don't have to have End of Dragons. You're going to get the power core, and then you can touch on that a little more.
Yeah. Because, like you mentioned, this gives additional stats. We didn't want to gate it behind anything because we don't want to make the people feel like you had to buy the expansion to get those extra stats. So while you won't get one for free if you don't have Jade Bots unlocked and you don't have End of Dragons, they are tradable, so you can get them on the trading post. You do have to be level 80 to equip them, but yeah, anybody level 80 can equip the power.
I'll be honest, I didn't even consider that up until this moment. That's good of them to do that.
Or whether they have Jade Bots or End of Dragons.
Perfect. All right, well, let's start looking at these modules and what you can do with them. We'll start with sensory arrays, and that unlocks as soon as you get your Jade Bot, right?
Yeah, sensory arrays, you don't have to have a high tier power core to get or to unlock that slot. And you'll get your first sensory array.
Scavenger Protocol Wood. Your Jade Bot will scan corpses to look for wood. Yes, officer, this robot right here.
Along with your Jade Bot and power core when you unlock it in the story.
Okay, well, let's talk about what they are. I've got the Scavenger Protocols up first.
Yeah, so what the Scavenger Protocols do...
Crimson Spud, Moonlight Potato.
You can basically command your
Scavenger Protocol Metal, same thing.
bot to search enemies you can
Leather.
kill for additional loot. So,
Cloth.
like the one you had right there, leather. If you have this equipped, every once in a while your Jade Bot will scan a corpse and find a little extra leather.
Magic Trophies.
It's somewhat rare. We didn't want people to be just able to gather tons of extra resources by doing this, but
Might Trophies. What is a Might Trophy?
getting a little bonus every once in a while definitely is pretty helpful, especially if you're trying to craft something that requires a lot of a specific resource.
Yeah, and there are 6 of those sensory arrays available with the Scavenger Protocol, so you can kind of customize that and get exactly the kind of thing that you're after. All right, let's look at the next one, which...
Recycler. Jade Slivers. Looted junk items will automatically be turned into... They did this because Klydoff, they have like 5 hard drives dedicated to Klydoff's account. I hope this automatically just shreds his bank. Looted junk items will automatically be turned into Jade Slivers. The quantity gained will fluctuate with the value of the junk.
which is the Recycler, something that I saw a lot of questions about too, so I'll let you run with that, Ben.
Yeah, for the recyclers, basically if you have this equipped, your Jade Bot will be scanning for any really cheap junk items that you get, like the really low value stuff.
Recycler Dragonite. Yeah, I need more Dragonite.
And as you get it, it'll just transform it into whatever you ask it to. So
Bloodstone Dust.
in this case, Bloodstone Dust, Dragonite.
Imperial
I think
Fragments.
most people,
Karma. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Looted junk gets turned into karma.
Probably end up using is you can get karma from it, or for me the most interesting thing is the Jade Slivers, because that's actually a new currency that you can go to a vendor for and get useful items from with these slivers.
Nice. Yeah, and this doesn't replace the things, it's kind of like the rescue protocol. It doesn't replace things you already have. This just ensures that the low-value junk items turn into something that you specifically want, and we're giving you that choice.
I was imagining already Kladoff being the only guy we knew that actually had the module unequipped.
Yeah, the higher value junk items, we didn't want to have it recycled, mainly because, for most cases, you'd probably rather have the gold when it's really high value. But it's meant to be just the really small junk items.
All right, so that's those two. Those, let's see, Recycler and Scavenger Protocols, Ben, where all are those available? Because this is one of those exceptions we talked about.
Yeah, those actually work in World versus Worlds. That's kind of the one exception for a lot of for things to work in World versus World. A lot of this other stuff doesn't. Like the Power Core stats are only available in PvE. They're not available in World versus World or PvP. But for the Scavenger and Recycler, there wasn't any reason why they shouldn't work in World versus World. And the strikes and fractals and all that, so they definitely will work there.
Very cool. For anyone who wasn't listening, the scavenging or the recycling protocols do work in World v World. So now when you successfully genocide an enemy blob, you're going to get paid a lot better for it.
Awesome. All right, let's touch on these last couple, and then we will move on to the other.
Turtle Siege Enhancer 3. Increases the damage of the Turtle Siege skill by 20%. Oh.
Half of this. So
yeah, you're 5 shots, then you run out of ammo.
The first one in the sensory array, aside from that, is the Turtle Siege Enhancer.
Not the stat improvement. Yes, they said twice, I think, that you will not get the vitality boost in World v World.
Yeah, so the Siege Enhancer, for anybody who likes to be a gunner on the turtle mounts, if you equip one of these modules, you will get a damage boost to the bombardment skill. Like you'll notice, you have a tier 3 one here. There's 3 tiers. For the non-scavenger and the non-recycler modules, there's always 3 tiers.
Yeah, and I've got the tier 3. I am ready to make a mess, and I'm incredibly excited about it. Also, for your
Energy Booster 3. Boost mount energy regeneration by 30%.
Other mounts, you have the Energy Booster. Same thing, the 3 tiers, right?
Yeah, 3 tiers. And this one, you'll get the tier 1 version of this for free in the story. This is probably what I'll mostly default.
No jackals she should not have.
When I'm not looking for loot, because this basically just lets your mount regenerate energy faster. Do all the cool movement mechanics a little bit more often.
Okay. All right, so that is the sensory arrays that we have available. We talked about the 10 tiers of Power Core. Once you have a tier 6 Power Core, you will unlock the surface chips, which make your Jade.
Gliding Booster 3 chip. Increases the vertical height of your Jade Bot's gliding booster ability. Oh, that's why earlier she said, normally you won't go this high. I thought she meant that they had done some dev stuff. I guess it was the chip.
Jade Bot even more versatile. And I will...
What did she say? She said that she had made a mess.
We'll let Ben run us through each of these.
Yeah, we have, right now we have 4 different types of service chip, each with 3 tiers, like with the other ones. The one you have right now, the Glide Boost, that's the one that lets you basically increase the height that your Jade Bot can boost you up. Tier 3, you go pretty significantly higher than standard Glide Boost.
Yeah. Now, just to be super clear, even if you don't have this particular surface chip equipped, you still get that glider boost because it's part of the mastery track. This just enhances it, right?
Right. Yeah, this is just an enhancement to the base one because the base one is, while it's fun, it's pretty limited in general.
Okay. All right. Let's touch on
Supercharger 3. Your Jade Bot enhances your Skiff's engine, increasing speed by 25%.
on these other 3, the Skiff Supercharger.
So you probably all saw the Skiff Supercharger in the promotional video that we put out. It's a real fun one if you plan to be doing a lot of boating around on your skiff. Pretty straightforward, just increases the base speed of your skiff. You can get going real quick if you have, especially with a tier 3, going max speed, all your boat masteries, and then use the turbo boost. You go fast enough that you can actually beat yourself with the skiff, which is actually kind of a fun way to dismount rather than just a normal dismounting.
Yeah, it's efficient.
Yeah,
Every time we talk about that.
Indigo after like 10 minutes of silence. Yeah, just yeet your boat onto the shoreline. It's more efficient that way.
I laugh. Because all I can picture is a player character like beaching his skiff, throwing the keys to the valet, and like strutting away after leaving just destruction in their wake.
Yeah, that's how I enter every single event.
Skiff valets confirmed.
Right? I can't wait to see players actually making this happen, Ben, now that you have explained how this can be done. Let's make a mess. All right, next.
I hope she doesn't like coin that phrase. That's twice now. Rescue Protocol Recharge 3. Increase the speed at which your Jade Bot can recharge the Rescue Protocol skill by 40%. Oh, it's enhanced dying. That's wonderful. This reminds me of that the shaman reincarnation in World of Warcraft, and you could take a talent in early WoW that reduced the cooldown of it by 20%, so that you could die and reincarnate more often. And we had some people in our raids that very much had to spec for enhanced dying.
Up is the rescue protocol recharge, and Ben, you mentioned the cooldown. This helps with that a little bit.
Yeah, the base cooldown on rescue protocol is 10 minutes, and you can shave time off that.
10 minutes.
These rescue protocol modules. This is definitely one in combat I'll probably use because, like I said, I'm an Ellie and I end up in downstate quite often. So you can get it down to 6 minutes with the tier 3.
All right, and finally the
Treasure Hunter Protocol 3. Your Jade Bot will scan for treasure chests within 4,000 units. So self-res more often, boat booster, the updraft booster, or treasure hunting. I'll probably go treasure hunting.
The Treasure Hunter Protocol.
The Treasure Hunter Protocol basically has your Jade Bot scanning for treasure chests in the world and drawing their location on your map. The higher tier.
No, the mount booster was the other thing. This is the service chip. The mount booster was the sensor thing. That doesn't compete for this slot.
Just give a larger radius. It's very handy. And to make it clear, it's not actually spawning the chest. It's telling you where chests that already exist are. The one cool thing is this works on any chest in the game, so we did a pretty concerted effort to try to mark every chest, even in older parts of Tyria, so this should work there. It was a kind of a hand process. If you do find a treasure chest that doesn't mark, let me know, and I'll get it added. Yeah, it makes finding treasure a lot easier, because I'm not the type of person who really likes to do the...
That's interesting. That means that if you're just checking to see if some treasure chests are spawned, you just have to get within 4,000 units of them. And you could just watch your mini map. You don't have to like go all the way to the chest. Like if it's in a cave or something, you don't have to actually enter it. You just gotta get close enough.
The search and find type thing. I just like somebody to tell me where it is, and I'll just go get it. So this is pretty helpful when you want to find those chests.
And you are the person who spent a lot of time looking for these chests, right? So I feel like you're done searching for chests for until the end of time.
Yeah. I went through pretty much everything. Everything marked as a chest in the game, I basically altered over the past few months. That being said, sometimes we name things weird, so if it wasn't named chest, I might have missed it.
Let us know if you...
In before, there's some pirate box called like Box of Booty, and it's not on the chest list.
You find one that the Jade Bot did not find. All right, so that's your customization. One more note on the modules. These are all craftable and tradable, right?
Yeah, you basically, the first tiers, I think they're all on this vendor, but the ones after that will require crafting research, and then the tier 3 ones actually require both crafting research and for you to get a loot drop from the world. So there's specific monsters that will drop specific pieces for the tier 3 versions of the recipes.
All right, and then
for
to upgrade...
three versions of the modules, yeah.
Yeah, all right, to upgrade these, so you'll need some random drops. Keep an eye on what you're rounding up as you're out in the world doing your damage.
Yeah.
All right. So there's our walkthrough of Jade Bots. There are a couple of other questions that I do want to touch on and make sure that you all get the answers to those that you wanted. Can I hide, if I don't want a sea of Jade Bots in front of me, can I hide other players' Jade Bots?
You can't hide other people's Jade Bots. We purposely... One of the reasons why their Jade Bot isn't up all the time is that we realized how messy it would make things look. So your Jade Bot pretty much only spawns in when it's taking a specific action, like you're having to gather power from a battery, or you're using a zipline. The one thing like you can do is that you can, like we said, you can disable your own through removing the power core. But the kind of interesting thing, one of the reasons...
He's got World of Warcraft on the shelf right there, chat. Traitor.
That's why the Jade Bot isn't up all the time, is we're concerned about server performance of having another entity spawn. So we actually, and this might be revealing a little bit too much, but we actually fake most of the Jade Bot animations with effects. It's not actual things spawning in the world to make it a little bit easier on the server.
Okay.
So we kind of invented a new art pipeline.
That works. Like, all right, so it's kind of a skill effect. So while you can't hide other people's Jade Bots, we did keep in mind that they don't need to be out there in the world all the time constantly. So yeah, if they're actively doing an action, or if, like I'm doing right now, if they're in direct control mode, you can see them. Otherwise, it's not going to be Jade Bot world as far as the eye can see. So. And Ben, you touched on this earlier. If you don't want to use the Jade Bot at all, just don't equip the power core, and it will not be a thing for you.
Yep,
so.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, he's dancing. Sorry, that was completely beside the point, but he did a little dance. All right, and I have one more question. Since you need the Jade Bot workbenches to switch out your modules, where are those located?
Currently, they're just in Cantha. That might change later on. Indigo can kind of talk about maybe the potential future around that.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're mostly in Cantha right now, and that's just because, I mean, Cantha's been closed off for the last 250 years, so Jade technology isn't going to be present in the rest of Tyria yet. But it's definitely a discussion that we're starting to explore and what the story looks like in a post-End of Dragons world. I know that I'm really specifically excited to see what Char and Asuran technology do, not just with the Jade Bots, but with the Hollow projectors, and we're going to start to see kind of what happens as that technology becomes more widespread. So not yet, but soon.
Perfect. All right, and the incredibly important question: can I name my Jade Bot?
Unfortunately, because the Jade bots are mostly skill effects, and we can't name skill effects.
Right.
Well, we didn't put that feature in. But as I've told people, you can name it in your heart, decide what you want to call it, and that's what it is.
So the fact that he said it's mostly a skill effect, that's really important for the revival protocol. So again, if you're doing if you're a ranger doing lick wounds, or if you're an elementalist and you're living your downstate life and an engineer uses function gyro to res you, the ranger pet and the function gyro, they have hit points. They can be killed, they can be interrupted, stunned, whatever. If this thing is only a skill and it isn't actually ever targetable, then I think that means that if it's doing rescue protocol, it can't be interrupted. Which, probably not a big deal if it's only usable in open world, but that's what I'm taking from that.
I'm explaining that they're skill effects, but I thought I would touch on it anyway. All right. So I hope you all enjoyed your overview of the Jade bots and how they work and how you can get your very own. Ben and Indigo, thank you both so much for spending time to walk us through all of this.
All right. Now, at the end of the broadcast, I'd be okay if she was trying to sell me that plushie Griffin again. Because they put in some work now. They've earned the right to shill.
And thanks to all of you for hanging out with us today and watching and learning all about Jade bots. You are 17 days away from your very own Jade bots. End of Dragons is out on the 28th. Today is the 11th. We are so close. Pre-purchase is available now if you want to hop over to the End of Dragons website, pre-purchase the expansion, get ready for your Jade bot, and scoop up some cool in-game rewards now that you can use in the live game, including the title and the cape and the weapon chest. Thank you all for hanging out with us.
And you can use your best friend Muckluck's referral link if you're going to pre-order, exclamation GW2 plus in the chat.
Week we have our audio live stream with composer Drew McLean. Drew McLean. It's been a long day. McLean Deemer and our audio director.
Wow, she just gave the dude a new name.
I can't even go laughing and I'm done. Drew's like, man, how long have you known me? And our audio director, Drew Katie, they're going to be joining us to talk about the audio side of Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons. So come hang out with us next week. I will see you then, and thank you all. Bye.
She didn't try to sell me the plushie at the end. I'm surprised. Okay. Pretty cool. Lot of questions answered. I will freely admit, though, there was a few things I was disappointed about. So when we were reading our interpretation of what we knew about Jade bots before, I thought the thing could auto salvage for you. Apparently what that translated to was turn crappy gray items into different things. And I thought it could auto gather, which I thought meant you go past a tree and it would chop the tree down automatically. No, it means it violates corpses to get leather, which honestly, if it's just stripping dead humans for leather, that's alarming in and of its own right. But it's not helping with gathering or anything like that. So, small bummer in my eyes, because honestly, the features that I had made up in my own head were the things I was most looking forward to, and those don't exist. So, the Jade bots are cute. The zip lines, I think the best thing about the zip lines is that you can jump off of them mid-transit. Revival Protocol is one of those things that it's going to be really nice when it helps you out in the open world, but the rest of the time it won't matter. The modules and stuff, customization is cool. One thing to mention, so anyone who's ever played the Trading Post, there's constantly, it's blood is the thing that's worth the most for a while, and then leather for a month is worth the most, and then totems are worth the most for a month, and then back to blood. I'm wondering if all of the community has the ability to add trophies or leather or whatever to their loot drops with these bots, if those shifts are going to happen way more often. Blood is the most, the thing that's worth the most money for a week. And then, everyone just changes their modules and we're all looting leather. And then then that's not worth the most. I feel like that's going to possibly, depending on the drop chance, multiplied by the entire community, that might rapidly change which item is worth the most. I hope by mistake it converts baubles to karma. Me too. 1 karma per bauble. They wouldn't override salvaging kits or gathering tools if they be broken. The majority of players won't bother to swap that regularly. We'll see. We're all going to be starving for mystic coins and stuff, so maybe. I don't think most people are going to think about TV price at all. No, most people, but the people that shift the prices might. It's just something interesting, I think. Like when I did the convert 1 million volatile to trophy shipments, I was just one dude and I fulfilled like, 20,000 pre-orders on the trading post. Now there was like 90,000, so that was a big dent in them, but it certainly didn't change the whole economy. But if a bunch of people did that at once, sorry for Mystic Coins like drowning in MCs. Well, no, they're taking away a lot of the Fractal Challenge modes will no longer drop Mystic Coins soon, IDAM, which was, each individual person could get between 0 and 21 Mystic Coins per challenge modes per day, and they're taking that away completely. More people do strikes than Fractal CM. The overall market will have coins distributed. Yeah, but the coins don't drop in strikes. They're an option that you can buy from strike vendors. Not there's going to be like a portion of the population play the game, then a portion of that population will do strikes, and then a portion of that population will remember to buy their coins each week, and a portion of them will actually put them into the economy. So it'll be very different. We'll see how it goes. Again, I'm not really too stressed about it because I'm past that point, but it's interesting to me that they even wanted to do this. Any opinion about the MT? What do you mean the MT? Sorry, any opinion about the 5/10 target change for boons? Yes, we went over that video a little while ago before we did this. I think the change to boons is very, very good. Because if you had some people that gave 10-man boons and others gave 5, only why would you ever bring the 5s to a group? The 10 ones would just be better in every way. They take up less space. But all right, so that is it for the coverage of the Jade Bot stream. That is everything that they have announced today.